Hello, all you amazing healers. Today I'm really excited to talk about detoxing your business to help things flow a lot better. And so there are a few things that I want you to consider when you are running a business and why it's so important to detox. Stay tuned to hear more. After interviewing hundreds of amazing healers like you on my podcast, I discovered their biggest challenges include not knowing where to get started to build their healing practice, build their practice so they can attract a stable income to support themselves, and that their advertising efforts seem like a waste of time and money. I had these same frustrations during my 30-year healing history. When I finally retired as a physics professor, I needed to replace my six-figure salary fast. As a highly sensitive introvert, I couldn't use typical sales techniques. Instead, I developed a 3-step system that replaced my income within 5 months. I've helped others develop their successful healing businesses with this system, and I can help you too. I'm Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Listen in to discover more. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here again. And I'm going to talk a little bit about detoxing your business. So, one thing I want you to consider that what happens in one cell happens in all your cells. So what's happening in one part of your life is happening in all parts of your life. For example, if you're toxic in your body somewhere, whether you're toxic from emotions, whether you're toxic from your mental state, whether you're toxic from a poor relationship, whether you're toxic because you hate your job, or whether you are toxic because you have eaten or been around the wrong thing, it's very likely that it spreads everywhere. So, have you ever experienced this, that when you're detoxing, let's say you're going on a nice clean diet, that you start cleaning your house up, all the little corners? That's the body, that's the spirit and the body kind of coming into alignment with one another, right? It's the same as the nesting syndrome. When you're pregnant, you have a baby coming, you start creating a nice nest for him. It's the body and the spirit coming into alignment. So let's just talk about what's going on in your business. So every traffic jam in your life will jam up your money and your business, right? So one thing that I just experienced, of course, is that my dad passed away and all of the estate needed settling. And it's not a big estate, but it still has taken 1 to 2 hours a day of my life over the last so many months, right? So that has kind of jammed me up. Fortunately, I've been dealing with it in a very calm way without all of the grief happening and everything. That's one great thing about healing, is that if you know how to heal, you can help heal yourself through a transition period like this. And of course, one of the things that just happened to me, you may or may not see it in the video, is that I was putting something away, trying to organize my house a little better. And I dropped a heavy item right on my head right here, and it banged up my nose, and this side of my eye has a little bit of a black eye. And it's kind of a thing where it's like making you stop, right? So I had to stop and get real calm and figure it out. And I did healing on my face, and the pain disappeared pretty quickly. And it's healing very fast, right? So here are some of the other places that can stop you in your business because things aren't flowing correctly, right? If is something that's not in your visual space, like a storage unit, for example, or that you have stuff stuck up in your attic and that you haven't looked at it for a long time, it can really stop you. I had to clear out. I had a storage unit for 3 years while I was getting things organized, because I went from a 4,400 square foot house down to an 1,100 square foot house. But I eventually cleared it out and things started to flow a lot better. right? And I also had things in my attic that would go up and clear out from periodically, and what was left were only the things that I wanted to keep, which I now have in display in my twice the size house now. So if something is unfinished, it can block the flow. So being a sewer and a knitter, right, you end up with having these half unfinished products, right? And I still have a couple. I've given away most of them to places that serve women and children in need, so they have crafts and they have things that they can work on and make new clothes for themselves. So I only have like a very small fraction of those left, but I can tell the difference, how much it felt like a big relief that I didn't have that big pile of things waiting for me to do, right? Any clutter in your physical environment will block your flow. So you'll notice back here behind me, and actually it's also on the sides of this room, the clutter is down to a minimum. I have this big cabinet that's here to the side of me that contains a lot of it. It still needs a little organizing, but it's not doing too bad considering that we just moved in a month ago, right? And then disorganization in your systems can also block the energy flow. So I have a computer here that can hold 2 terabytes of information, and when it starts getting full, or it starts getting, the information is too old, I offload it onto a disk so my working environment is clean. And I also go through and delete old programs that don't work. For example, if you've had a program for 10 years and you haven't had it updated regularly, then it probably doesn't work on the new operating system. So keeping that really clean and clear, and even the programs that you keep in your boxes, like we used to get them on discs, right? Now you just download them, right? All of those need to be cleared out. Any old unfinished projects really need to be cleared out. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is the money clutter, right? A lot of people have money clutter. So consider everywhere you're not tracking as money clutter, right? Tracking is really important, and I'm going to give you some really simple tips on how to keep track of that money. Right? I know that most of us don't want to deal with it. Some of us feel it's icky. It's not. It's just transformed energy. It is your energy that created that money flow. And the money flow is what supports you and makes you feel comfortable and able to thrive, because it gives you the means to support yourself, right? So here's what happens is that if you don't keep track of it, then the problem starts to grow. And one of the things that I had to do, because I created some debt for myself, is to list all the debts that I had. I created debt in order to start this business. And my debt is now very small and very manageable, but I considered it an investment in myself. But being able to keep track of all the debt that I owe and who I owe the money to allowed me to track how it was being paid. And my goal was to reduce the debt to 0, right? And I'm just about there, and I'm really happy. My car is almost all paid off, and my other debts are almost all paid off. And the only thing that will be remaining is the mortgage we had to take out in order to pay off my siblings for this house. So you can use paper to keep track of it. I open my electronic spreadsheet once a month. I just finished entering numbers into it I have 2 credit card debts left, and it's one of those zero interest balance transfer things. And so I update this simple spreadsheet every month, right? And you can also now make a list of what people owe you, basically an accounts payable. I don't operate on accounts payable, but some businesses do, right? I ask for the money up front before each session or right at the end of each session, because it's too difficult for me to chase after the money, and I feel uncomfortable chasing it. I'm much happier when I just am able to charge a credit card right after the session, right? And so one of the important ways to avoid having an accounts payable is to do just what I said, is to get paid up front. And then lastly, a lot of people will take their loose change and then you'll find it in your couch, in your pockets. I remember sometimes when my ex-husband and I would want to go out to a movie, we would look through all of our pockets and find $5, $10, a few dollar bills. It was always kind of funny because, you'd say, oh, I found $2 more. And I say, yeah, I found another $1. And we'd be able to gather the $8, that's what it cost back then, to go to the movies that evening. So, and that's when they didn't take credit cards. That was way back when, right? In the 70s and 80s. So instead of having it like hidden everywhere and hiding, I always keep it in one place. I put all my loose change in a little box that we can buy water with. If it's pennies, I put them in a little pink pig that it helps create like a metal chunk. So I have, for feng shui, I have a chunk of metal that I can put somewhere. It's kind of funny because it's sitting in a little pink piggy bank. And I also clean my wallet out from time to time because you can get like lots of things stuck in there, like receipts and cards and things, and have a place to put them. And I also will put the money together because I have a woman that does the basic cleaning in the house come every 2 weeks, and I pay her in cash. So I have a place for that too. So having gathered everything together, even when you find pennies somewhere, you don't poop on your pennies, you bless them because they are doing something for you, right? And you keep the clutter and the disorganization to a minimum this way. And this helps clear your money clutter, and it helps create flow, because whenever you gather the money together and it hides, it gets stuck. But if you gather it together and you're able to use it, then it creates flow. So that's what you want. Money in, money out, creates the flow. Of course, you get to keep some of it too for the future, right? I've been saving for my retirement, whenever that's going to happen, my whole life. But I have a little nest egg put away, so if something happens over the next 6 months, I'll be okay, right? So that's all I wanted to talk to you about, is helping detox your business. And next time I'll talk about cleaning up your business relationships, and we'll talk a little bit more about unfinished projects and how that can get you stuck, right? It basically creates black holes of energy, just like what money clutter does. Creates a black hole of energy where it gets stuck, and what we want is for it to flow. So I hope that was really helpful today, cleaning up, figuring out what your debts are, who you owe, how much it is, totaling it, and focus on reducing that number, which is one thing, right? And when you start doing that, you will stop spending it on things right now that you absolutely don't need. I didn't say you could stop spending on the stuff you absolutely do, but the stuff you absolutely don't need. And remember, if it's in one cell, it's in all your cells. Okay, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this message helpful, please subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up or a 5-star rating, and share it with your friends. To discover more about the 3-step system for attracting a generous income as a healer or intuitive coach, sign up for free at www.highpaidhealers.com. I look forward to seeing you there and in the next video.